Hello, Top Fan Rivalry followers, and welcome to Thursday. And happy 4th of July to you. I brought the best of the best for the 4th of July. There is a very iconic rivalry that I think has been iconic for a number of years. And what better way to celebrate it than to celebrate it on the nation's birthday? So, good morning to all of you that are listening to this. Jen, good morning to you, and go Mets, right?
Hi, good morning. Go Mets for sure.
Rachel, good morning to you, and go Braves.
Good morning. Go Braves.
Delaney, good morning to you and go Braves.
Go Braves.
And good morning to you, Megs, and go Mets.
Oh, it's the best morning. LFGM.
Oh, it's already going to start. So, everybody, I picked these four ladies to celebrate 4th of July with. I think it's going to be an awesome episode. I have to tell you, I have no idea where it's going to go. They know the questions ahead of time, but I got two Mets fans. I got two Braves fans. They've already been bantering back and forth. I'm probably just going to shut up and let it happen. But before we do that, don't forget to check out TopFanRivalry.com. Check out your locker room. There's a bunch of new stuff that's going in the locker room daily. Check that out. Make sure that you're checking out the team store as well. That being said, let's start with you, Rach. We're going to just dive right in here. Okay.
Hi.
All right. So, like you're representing all of Braves Nation. If you fail, everybody will know you were the leadoff hitter, and Delaney might boo you. I think she has like a gong ready to go or something like that. That's probably for the Mets fans.
I think
So,
Delaney's seen that I have plenty of hot takes to give. So, I mean, I don't think anybody will be surprised if I start spouting off hot takes.
Yeah,
okay,
mostly
there
mayo
you
and
go.
hot dog.
So,
That's neither here.
so as a female fan, of the Braves, obviously, how do you feel that the baseball community can better support and include women in the sport?
So, I feel like there's two different directions that my mind kind of went when I read that question. And I I feel like I could go into like what I feel like the MLB can do, and then what I feel like a community as far as like the fan base could do. I think that personally, and I'm really just speaking for myself here, I think I would like to see more women in the front office on teams. I would like to see that. I'm not necessarily talking like managerial positions or anything like that, but I would like to see a lot of more female involvement behind the team. And I just think that that's important for, I have a 12-year-old daughter. I think things like that are important for her to see growing up, being a little sports fan that she is as well. I think personally, that's something that I would like to see. Um, and as far as the MLB in general, this is one thing my mind immediately went to merchandise. And I don't want to sound so cheesy saying that, but as a female baseball fan, I have a really hard time finding good baseball merchandise to wear, good jerseys that aren't men's jerseys, but aren't tacky, hats that aren't floral, and kind of things like that. The only female jersey that I really have is a customized jersey that I got, but it's not cute. You know what I mean? Like I want a little bit more female representation in what we can wear and what we can buy, and I want as big of a spectrum as men have in that. And then I think as far as the fan base goes, I think just a little bit more respect. We had the women in sports day that happened a couple of months ago, and that's really really cool to see. And I think that it's important to really take time and to honor the women who play sports and who work in sports, but also there's a lot of females in the fan base like myself. I don't work in sports, but I dedicate a lot of my time and a lot of my energy and most of my money to being a baseball fan. Like truly, I'm going to games, and I live 2.5 hours away, but I'm going, every week or trying to. And I just feel like maybe just a little bit more respect for the women who dedicate their lives in that aspect too. And I think doing things like this, having these episodes where just the ladies can kind of talk about being ladies in as baseball fans, I think is really important. Just getting our voices out there and having people listen to what we have to say and take us a little bit more seriously in general. I feel I've never been taken completely seriously as a baseball fan specifically. So I think, yeah, from my personal point of view, those are things that I would just personally like to see over time. And I know a lot of that takes a lot of time, but that's definitely what I would like to see.
So I'm glad that you mentioned that because I have never, and shame on me, really, shame on me. I'm glad that you mentioned the merchandise thing because the first thing that went to my mind was a reel that Megan did when we were in Kansas City.
Mm.
She put together a reel and she did a voiceover on it and talked about, as a mom, all the cool things that they had for the kids. But I had never, because I've been going to baseball games, and I don't want to tell you for how many years because I mean, just look at my hairline, but whatever. I've been going to baseball games for a while, and I never thought of that. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. That's amazing. That is
I
absolutely.
just, I kind of get tired of walking into stores and I see a female Braves shirt, but it's pink
Pink.
or it's sequined or it's my dad got me a baseball hat and I love that hat, but it's floral. It's like all of these things that I just want to represent my team. I just want something that makes me look like I am representing my team, wearing my team's merch, but it is not made for a man. We have softball teams. I see girls wearing jerseys. You can make them. It's not hard, but it is hard as a woman to dress how I want to dress at a baseball game without buying something specifically from Chelsea Freeman. So I think that's probably the biggest thing for me that I would want to change like tomorrow if I could.
Sorry, Freddie. She didn't mean any insult about it,
I,
but since you left, she unfollowed you.
I meant exactly how it sounded. Okay.
I
I
mean, we
unfollowed.
we have a Top Fan Rivalry follower whose mom calls Freddie Freeman the one with the teeth.
It wasn't me.
Oh,
Don't look at my Twitter. Don't search the word teeth.
yeah.
Heaven forbid.
Yeah. Jen, same question to you. How do you think the baseball community can better support and include women in the sport?
Well, I definitely agree with you on the merchandise aspect of it. I find myself buying like teenage size clothes, just the largest I can find for kids because it's so much better than the female attire that's out there because I'm not a pink sparkle kind of girl. So I definitely agree with you there. But it's interesting because I actually think that baseball is one of the few sports where women are a little bit more included and compared to other sports. So I don't really get that overall vibe that, as a woman, I'm missing something. And I think the Mets in particular do a really good job of including their female fans. They have a lot of front office women. They've got female grounds crew, female trainers. So it's really nice to see that women are definitely a part of the organization. And, you walk around the stadium and there's a good mix of women and men in there. Like, I never feel like it is a male dominated game or environment when I'm at a baseball game. And I can't say the same about other sports, but I really just feel like baseball's a little bit better and I don't know what the reason is. But I do get that sense. There are a lot of times where, men kind of question your understanding of baseball and they think, you're just there because it's an easy sport to follow, but actually if it's not if you really do understand the game.
Mhm.
And then when you hit them with some stats, then all of a sudden they believe you that what you're talking about. But it's tricky being a female fan in any sport. But I do think there's a little bit of grace in baseball.
So everybody, the world has not ended, but a Mets fan and a Braves fan just agreed. So the world has not ended. Don't worry.
It didn't even feel right. I kind of felt nice. This is
I feel like all of a sudden, Top Fan Rivalry building unity with all teams.
we can talk to each other without ripping each other up. It's
Wait a
amazing.
second. I kind of like blue and red together. How
Ah,
is that
yes, 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 yes. Okay, Delaney, same question. How do you think the women in the baseball community can be better supported and
So I
included?
know that, yeah, I know that we keep talking about the merchandise. And I think part of it is a cultural thing, being in the South versus being in the North. Um, and even within the Braves community, like, yeah, I see a ton of women at the games. I see them all for the most part wearing men's jerseys. And I'll be the first one to say I wear a men's small every time. I have one women's cut jersey. And the reason I don't like them is because not every woman cuts in at the waist, and it can be super unflattering. It can be super uncomfortable. And like Rach said, and like Jen agreed, like, I'm not pink and sparkles. Like, why are you making but you know, as someone who goes to a ton of basketball games in downtown Atlanta, I can, say with complete certainty, like, the culture is different across the sport for something like that, because the merchandise that I've seen at Hawks games, like with the Hawks gear, is insane. Because when you go to a Hawks game, you're going to see and be seen. It is an event. Whereas when you're going to a base, more like you're going to lay out in the sun, drink a beer, enjoy a game, chat with your friends, and obviously still enjoy the sport. But I think baseball in general needs to do more for the women. Like, maybe get some more women at Fanatics and more women at Nike involved in actually designing the merchandise. And to agree with Rach, men are so dismissive when a woman says, like, oh, I really like this player. Oh, well, why do you like him? Because he looks good in baseball pants? And it's like, no, I like him because he's a 10-time Gold Glove winner, 5-time All-Star, and a Silver Slugger Award winner. Oh, wait, who was I describing? Andrew Jones. I was telling one of my friends about that at a game, and this old man whipped his head like so fast to look at me. Like, I swear he had whiplash. It's like, yes, women know stats, women know sports. Like, don't be surprised. Don't be dismissive. Like, respect what we have to say. And even if you do like a guy because he looks good in baseball pants, that's okay too.
Yeah.
You don't have a team. Like, just respect the fact that they like it. That's one more person cheering for a team that you supposedly like. What's the problem?
Amen.
Somebody's Megan, you're gonna explain the cut in. I don't understand that, but it made sense, right? I just go by the t-shirts. It's but you're also talking to somebody, Delaney, you're gonna want to put the drink down for a second when I say this. So
Okay.
Megan and I are walking in Vegas, right? We're planning something and we're walking in Vegas. And the girls that walk around with the flamingo things or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I forgot what they were called. Megan, what did I call them?
The fluffy girls.
Because all
The
I could think of was the
headdresses?
little fluffy things on the back, right? And I'm like, hey, the fluffy girls. Apparently that's offensive. I didn't mean it to be
Yeah, a little
offensive.
bit of a faux pas.
A
But
little bit.
Megan's like,
The
what did you just say?
showgirls?
And I said, the
The
things
showgirls.
back on
So I
Fluffy
corrected
girls.
him, and I'm like, the showgirls. What he was trying to say was like the feather girls, but it came out fluffy girls. And I'm like, ooh, like that's how so many people ended up in
That's how
the
fights are
press.
started.
Yeah, I'm
That's
like,
how
My bad.
people start going to Mexico to play ball.
Yeah.
Better learn some Spanish, buddy.
like just in case
Como?
no one's ever told you
That is-
you're not supposed to
Unless-
ignore on a woman.
Unless
you know?
it can be fixed in 5 minutes or less. You don't need to tell
That's
a
the
woman.
golden
Correct.
rule.
Yes.
That's so funny. I read that recently. Unless it can be fixed in 5 minutes or less, you do not tell them. Yes.
Lipstick on the teeth, a smudgy makeup. Yes. You
Toilet
you
paper
tell
on the
them.
shoe. You just step on it. Don't even have to say anything. But like if they can't go
Somebody's
home and
acne?
change,
No.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
No.
See, and I didn't mean it that way. I didn't even think of it that way. I just, because of the feather, whatever. Anyways,
It's
Megan,
okay. You're
course correct.
learning. You're learning.
Yeah, I can be taught.
You can teach an old dog new tricks.
teachable moments.
Yes. So Megan, same question to you. How do you feel that the baseball community can better support women and or in the sport, I should say?
So I agree with all three of these ladies. Definitely in regards to the merch, like when Rachel started talking about like the flowers and the pink, it's like I'm already a woman. Most people can tell that. Like I don't need my take
at all. And this is actually something I think about often because, you know, I come on to do like in the leagues on Fridays, or I go to games and stuff. And it's like, gosh, I've had to get like custom stuff made because I like a specific style of like racerback crop top. And I have to go get Mets logos printed on that because they don't sell that. It's like, there isn't any like wearable like gear that like can keep up with the times and the different body types. It's like that is a huge issue. And I cannot believe, I know there's like small shops that do things here and there, but they're either like unreasonably expensive or they take 8 weeks to get to you. Like there's no quick, easy, accessible, stylish women's fashion for team gear. So that is a very, very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. And I mean, this is a girls episode. So to be fair, these are the things that the ladies can relate to. They want to hear about, like, it's a problem, let's solve it. So I definitely we're all on the same page with that. What's very interesting that I noticed that you guys said, so Jen's a Mets fan that lives in New York, and you guys are Braves fans that are local to Atlanta. Or somewhere around there. I'm a Mets fan that lives in Texas. So I've actually never been to Citi Field. I can only speak to my experiences in Texas when they're playing the Astros or the Rangers. I am beyond thrilled to hear Jen's testimony that the Mets are very good at being inclusive with women. I don't know if it's a northerner, southerner thing, but in Texas, in the South, it is very common, especially because I'm a Mets fan. I have a target on my back. I'm a Yankee, right? I'm from the North. Like, it is very, very common for just the culture and in general for men to be dismissive of anything that you have to say. And it's like, you do kind of like walk in like with a defense mechanism on your shoulders because you feel like you're going to have to like combat anything that anyone says to you. I also, again, regard to like women specifically with baseball, I feel like baseball is such a casual sport. It's easy for just like, you know, me to tell my girlfriends, oh, let's go to the ball game. You know, they're not Mets fans or Astros fans or Rangers fans, but it's like, who doesn't enjoy a hot dog and an afternoon at the ballpark? You know, so it's common to see women for that reason. And I will also agree that like with other sports, it's a little bit more difficult. I would say that with baseball, you're going to see more female fans because it's just a casual outing. With like football and basketball, it is much less common to see such female presence. And then if you start trying to like stand up or talk, do you actually know what you're saying? Did someone tell you to say that? Like you do kind of have a target on your back. Like people are going to like naturally kind of have their doubts, you know? So I think it's interesting, you know, to hear Jen's perspective of how she sees it at Citi Field with females and then how you guys experience it. So yeah, I mean, I agree with all of you guys. And to go back to the question about how women can be better supported, I think honestly, just, you know, the more that, like you said, Rachel, the more that we get on and talk about it and share our experiences and our knowledge, you know, the more awareness for the public and for men in general is to just be open-minded. Like, you know, I don't know, there could be guys that know far less than I do, you know, at a game, but I don't immediately look at them and doubt them because they're a guy. So it's like the whole thing, you know. But yeah, I'm proud of us for doing things like this, getting on and you know, showing our fandom and talking about it. That's
you can't make anyone listen, but the principle of not backing down when confronted in those situations is something that I've had to work on just, I don't know, in the past 5-10 years of being a fan, because it's kind of one of those things that I never even spoke out about my fandom much at all, because it was just such a me thing. World Series we won in 2021. I never got on social media. I'm kind of glad I didn't. I'm kind of glad that I wasn't on social media for that, and I got to enjoy it by myself and stress out by myself. It took me a while to realize that I don't have to back down when I'm talking to these guys. I can love the sport and I can love the people that I love for the reasons that I love them, and they don't have to necessarily align with anyone else's. I don't have to change my opinions on things to fit in with what they want. So it really has become that principle for me about not backing down, about not demanding to be heard. You don't have to listen to me, but I'm gonna love it out. It's my whole hobby. So I think that that's where it's gonna kind of come into play as far as the fan base is concerned. Just
And
just being loud and in hopes of being heard, and loving it even if you're not.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I love that because, you know, ultimately it doesn't matter, right? Like we have
Right.
nothing to prove. We have nothing to prove. We love baseball because it's a passion of ours, because we truly enjoy it. At the end of the day, you know, there may be women that it actually irks, but at the end of the day, if you're just being a genuine, authentic fan of your team, like we have nothing to prove. We're out here enjoying the sport like everyone else is. And that's, you know, that's what I love. It's just that authenticity.
okay, so Jen, I'm going to ask you I'm going to have you lead off the next question for me. Okay. Seeing you guys have a historic rivalry, right? Ever since
Do
well, ever since let me finish. Since the Braves went into the National League East, there has been a historic rivalry, you know, for the last 20 some odd years. So that being said, Jen, current status of this rivalry, and where do you see it evolving in the future?
I mean, I think first of all, any rivalry is fun. So I'm a big fan of rivalries right off the bat. This one's interesting because it's kind of ebbed and flowed over the years. You know, late 90s, early 2000s, like that was all-time Mets Braves rivalry, in my opinion. And then it kind of cooled off for like quite some time. Both teams were struggling. But I think in the last couple years, 21, 22, yes, definitely 22, when we're not going to talk about that right now, but definitely 22.
No one wants to talk about that.
You know, the rivalry picked up, and I feel like, you know, as long as the two teams remain competitive the way they are right now, you know, that rivalry is going to continue. I mean, they both have great teams to put out there, and it's just rivalries are fun. So I like when they're good. I like when it matters. You know, if you're both under 500, nobody really cares.
And let's be honest, when you're playing a rivalry team, like when the Mets are playing the Braves, you always want to gear up and watch it. It's a little bit more exciting than when they're playing the Nationals or the A's or something like that, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you know, it's interesting you say that because there's been a lot of talk about potentially divisions changing, the whole like NL thing just changing, and that rivalry might disappear. So as long as we're in the same division and things are set the way they are right now, I think, you know, the rivalry will continue. Plans. Nobody's really sure what's up his sleeve, but the way baseball looks right now could very much change in the next few years.
100%, especially if they add a couple of teams in.
Like they want
Right.
to, yeah.
Yeah. Delaney, what do you think? What current status of that rivalry, and where do you see it going?
Yeah, I think Jen's right. You know, it does definitely ebb and flow, especially based on how the teams are performing. You know, when Chipper was still around before he retired, you know, he definitely did some damage, and Austin Riley's kind of taking over that mantle a little bit. But I gotta be honest, I think right now we're in one of those places where it's just not as strong as it used to be. Like yeah, 2022, 2021, like those were some great years, but the way that things have been playing out in the East lately, from what I've seen, has been more Braves Phillies and Mets Marlins. And Mets Marlins is more because there are more Mets fans in Miami than Marlins fans in Miami. Than anything.
The Mets don't care about the Marlins.
Right. I don't think anybody really
all.
does.
Yeah, at all.
Like that's your annoying little brother saying like, I want to play too. Like
Right.
let's be so for real right now.
Yeah.
Poor Marlon.
Um,
It's so true.
but yeah, so I think in the Marlins' mind, their rival is more the Mets. Like, and maybe, you know, when the Mets are struggling, Maybe it is a little bit more intense. I think that right now it's more Braves Phillies than Braves Mets, especially because we're all sitting here agreeing with each other. But I definitely see it, getting stronger as our prospects come up. Like you said, we both have some really great young talent. We've locked some guys in, some really good guys in for a long time. And we've got some guys being well developed, just looking at Nacho Alvarez. So I'm excited to see where it goes, but I definitely think we're
Yeah. Okay, so Megan, to you the same question, the status of apparently the Mets Marlins rivalry. And where do you see it going in the future? No, I'm teasing. Where do you see this going in the future?
So I agree with Jen. The Mets do not care about the Marlins. And I mean, I can't say that enough. Like the Marlins are so irrelevant. They are literally never mentioned. To be fair, I know what you mean. Plus, there's so many New Yorkers that end up in Florida. There's a ton, Florida has a huge Mets population. So you're right. I mean, to be fair. But I mean, speaking from a fan of the Mets, we do not care about the Marlins. What I will say is that I think the rivalry has cooled off. I'll agree with that. I mean, it's iconic, it's historic, it's a good one, right? I think that I hate the Phillies a little bit more than I hate the Braves. So my kind of, it goes Braves, Phillies, Mets, Phillies. I think that we both kind of are, feeling like the Phillies are more of a rival
Everyone hates the Phillies. We can agree on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
like we just, team no Phillies. We're all on that team,
we're
so-
the ones that look best in red and blue. Let's
That's
be real. Let's be real.
And all my homies hate the Phillies.
yeah. So I do. I think, it's historic. And it's, again, to speak to both y'all's points, it's so much funner when both teams are doing good. That's always going to be more fun. At the moment, we're not super like head to head on that rivalry by any means. We definitely, the Braves are, I mean, no disrespect, but the Braves are struggling a little bit right now. The Mets are hot, but again, we're kind of feeling more tension from the Phillies, not so much the Braves, not just because of how the Braves are performing, but because of the Phillies' performance over the past couple of years. They're kind of the common denominator. So that's kind of my stance on the current state of it. But again, it's a good rivalry. It's a fun rivalry. I have a lot of Braves fans or friends, actually, people that I love very much and are awesome people and great friends are Braves fans. So yeah, that's my take.
So the takeout on this that I have so far is now twice Mets and Braves fans are agreeing. And I just learned that you can use in a sentence funner and more fun all in the same sentence. So I'm learning things tonight.
Give me another 10 minutes. I'll pull out a couple extra words you've never heard of. So
I'm sure. So just to get it on record, for those of you that are curious, you can use funner and more fun in the same sentence, and it's totally English.
I mean, it's legal.
There you go.
It's legal.
Rach, wrap us up with this question. Where do you see this rivalry going in the future?
Well, let me shock you and agree with everyone.
Whoa!
No, I mean,
twist.
It's getting funner here because truly, I agree. What I think that you could call the Braves and Mets rivalry right now is a rebuilding of the rivalry. Because when they talked about that it has ebbed and it has flowed, it has kind of, I don't know what's up and down, ebb or flow, whatever. We've seen a slump in this rivalry just because there hasn't been much to speak on as far as it goes. And the rivalries are only good and fun when both teams are playing good. It is not like last season. We saw the Braves have like this record-breaking season, a very rare season, and what were the Mets to us last season?
Bugs on our windshield.
Yeah, wasn't worried about it like I was in 2022. We got a peek at that rivalry, and I think one of the things I love about baseball the most are the rivalries. I think I'm a Braves fan. I'm a diehard, lifelong Braves fan, but above everything else, I'm a baseball fan. I love good baseball, and good baseball comes with good rivalries. And so without the Mets being hot and the Braves being hot, there can't be that rivalry. And so I think we are starting to see a slow rebuild. And I think that we're just going to keep seeing that grow. And that depends on the moves that we make as an organization and the Mets make as an organization, and how hot our teams can get. If we can see those little changes happen individually, we can see this rivalry come back to life, which is a very frustrating rivalry. It is. I actually, but I don't hate the Mets as much as I hate the Phillies. Never. I never have.
I concur.
But I do enjoy a good rivalry, even if it just eats my soul out of my body. I love it. And it's good baseball, and I love baseball. So yeah, we're seeing a rebuild. We'll get there.
Okay, so is it funner or more fun?
Well, I mean, like grammatically.
Should we start taking over-unders on how many times Bill brings up funner?
I
no,
know.
no. No,
I'm
wait
putting the
until
point at
tomorrow in the leagues.
6.7.
I'm going
Wait.
over 9.5.
Yeah, wait until
Okay, when we meet him, you know.
no.
Did I say that out loud? Did I?
I love it.
Who's
I love
gonna
it.
cut
Okay.
that out of the podcast?
You just put the beep over that.
Censored. Did I
Keep it out.
type that out or did it come from my mouth? Okay. My boss
The
is the dog
silence was
whisperer.
deafening for a second there. I love it.
Oh, my morning call is gonna be fun tomorrow.
Any of you ladies know of anybody that's in
girls.
marketing that might be looking for a job tomorrow? Because I know one that'll be unemployed. That much I can
I say
guarantee.
she needs a raise. I say she needs a raise for that one. That was good.
I agree.
That was very
Yeah,
good.
we'll see about that. Jen's back there going, I'm not getting involved. These
Yeah,
these
no.
two ladies are gonna fight it as I'm not getting involved. Very wise move.
No, actually, Jen's texting me. She's like, "It's okay, call me. Like, we'll figure this out together."
Yes, we'll see about that. It's funny that you guys mentioned the Phillies though, because we're going to talk about that now, and that is where do in the Braves Mets, where do the division rivals stack up, and what are your predictions for your team this season? And Delaney, we're going to start with you. So where do you stack? Where do you like? I think we can all agree on this thing that you guys all don't like the Phillies. And I'm here to tell you, I'm a Dodger fan. I bleed blue. I like all 30 teams because of Top Fan. But I will tell you, if the Giants go 0-162 and the Dodgers go 60-102 and lose 102 games, as long as they won the 13 against the Giants, I don't care. Like, I could literally care less. If we miss the playoffs, that's fine. As long as we destroyed the Giants, I'm good with that. I don't want to miss the playoffs. I don't know what it. By the way, Megan and Jen, the playoffs are the stuff that happens after the season's over. Just if you want to take note real quick on what the playoffs are. No,
Yeah, got you.
I'm just teasing.
Diabolical.
Well, you know, at the end of the playoffs, they have this thing called the World Series.
Yeah, I've heard of
When
it.
you get this thing called the Commissioner's Trophy. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I know it's been a little while.
I don't even think they were.
Maybe not in your
2020.
lifetime.
Yeah.
2020. Yeah. I remember.
2021.
It's been really cool, like twice since I've been alive.
Yeah, you know.
We won, so that's good.
It's 3 times since I've been alive. Okay, so Delaney,
Aging
where do you
yourself
guys
there,
stack
Bill.
up in
Yeah.
the division rivals? Where do you stack up in the
Same.
division rivals? And then where are you going to finish?
So I'm going to start off with where we're going to finish.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say this. I think I see Philly, which is very annoying. But I see them winning the East. And I think Braves are finally going to get some juices flowing. And I think that battle for second and third in the NL East is going to kind of spark that rivalry again a little bit. You know, Mets are hot right now. We're kind of teetering between, you know, looking really good, you know, taking 2 out of 3 from the Yankees and then getting shut out
And
by
then
the White
today.
Sox. Which, you know. But I think moving Kelenic to the leadoff spot, you know, like I said to to these women earlier, I think that really gave him that boost of confidence that he needed at the plate. Just Snicker saying like, hey, we're still behind you. We still know that you can do this. And I think it's really shown in how he's been hot, and Ozuna's starting to, maybe cool down a little, but hopefully Matt Olson and Austin Riley start to figure things out. Maybe that'll like inspire the rest of the team. So here's hoping for that. And once that happens, I think if the Mets are gonna stay doing what they're doing, unfortunately, I think that battle for second or third in the East is gonna look really good. No one really cares about fourth and fifth, but that's because it's the Marlins and the Nationals. As we've mentioned already, no one cares about the Marlins. And I can say that as a former Marlins employee, I don't care about the Marlins. Let me be very clear.
I mean, their front
I
office
hate
said that
them.
they don't care either.
Literally.
I don't think I've ever
Listen.
met a Marlins fan.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's because they don't exist. They are Mets fans. They all moved from New York. It's why the Marlins team is trying to make the Mets thing a rivalry. Like I'm telling you, when I used to work there, it was a sea of blue and orange. And let me tell you, I don't think that blue and orange looks good together, but oh my God, it was so nice to see fans in that building. Like genuinely. But yeah, I think it comes down to the wire. I think it comes down to the rivalry between the Braves and the Mets for second and third in the East. I do think that we all make it to the playoffs though. I think that the Mets and the Braves both get a wild card. So that's kind of what I see happening. Strongest rivalry right now, Phillies. Second strongest, Mets. I mean, nobody has a rivalry with the Nationals and the Marlins, but that's because the Nationals haven't been relevant since they won in 2019, and Marlins just haven't been relevant.
I literally forget that the Nationals exist until we played them.
Listen, though, they have the most
Literally.
beautiful City Connect jerseys I've ever seen in my life. That is the one time I will allow floral and pink, and
They're
that's
very
because it
cool.
has to do
Yes.
with the city and the culture, and that is the one time I'll allow it.
They're
But
very cool.
I like seeing those. That's about it. I don't really care for the rest of it.
So,
Yeah.
so Jen, you'll back me up on this. Have I or have I not been saying that the Mets are a wild card team? I've been saying that for a while.
You
haven't I,
have been
Jen?
saying it. Yeah, you've been saying it since day one. I was a little reluctant to agree. But I'm on on that bandwagon right now. I mean, yeah,
How I look
the
at
Nats,
that.
yeah, the Nats and the Marlins are non-factors, so we don't have to worry about them. Phillies are obviously the team to beat, but nobody's going to beat them. So let's just knock that out of the equation. And so
I hate
I
to say
think
this,
that
but
leaves
maybe the
it
Yankees.
to Braves and Mets to make the wild card. And wild card, could they both make it? Yeah, hot take. The Braves kind of suck lately. So I don't know.
Can't
Got a
even
lot
argue with that,
to
honestly.
deal with, and we just don't know what's going to happen going down the road. And the same thing for the Mets. Like they could very easily cool off and go right back to the way they were, especially if they don't deal with the bullpen situation right now, because it is in dire straits at the moment. So, but
Keep scoring 12 runs. You won't have to worry about much of a bullpen.
It doesn't matter. They score 10, 12.
Can you just fix it after we play you guys?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Don't worry about it right now. That's okay.
Okay. So Delaney and Jen, I'm going to come right back to you. A quick answer to this question, Delaney. Would you prefer Waffle House or a Philly cheesesteak?
Waffle House. That's not even a question. I was at Waffle House last night.
Jen, would you prefer a Gray's papaya or a Philly cheesesteak?
I actually would prefer a Philly cheesesteak.
Oh no!
No, Gray's papaya is so good.
But a good Philly cheesesteak is so good.
I'm trying to make the food after your team and your rival.
No, you can't.
You missed the assignment.
I agree.
Leave
No, I
food
got
out
the
of it.
assignment, but I purposely failed it because I couldn't agree.
There you go. Rachel, again, same question. Where do you guys finish up in division rivals?
So, I mean, I I'm not straying too far off of what the ladies have been saying, because we're prefacing this with the trade deadline has not come yet. Things could change. If there's one thing that I know about the freaking Braves, it's that we don't ever really know. And this has been an unprecedented season, and I miss precedented times personally. When everybody's arms weren't falling off and their backs weren't breaking or whatever's happening, we're just falling off like flies, whatever. I've never been scared of second place in the standings. It has been fun to 6 years in a row now, whatever it's been, win the East. Like that's like a puffs our chest up kind of thing, and it's fun to say. But I'm not really scared. I'm not really scared of first place, but we kind of saw last season we were so far ahead in first place. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. Anything could happen in that postseason. So, I mean, I personally think that how it stands right now is how it's going to finish. I think that the only thing that can threaten that is actually the Nationals, and they threaten the Mets. They're what, 2.5, 3 games behind you right now. It's not far, but the good thing for the Mets is that they have heated up. And so we can kind of lengthen in between them. But I think besides kind of how close you see them in the standings right now, I personally think that the standings are going to stay the same. Phillies are going to finish first. Braves are going to finish second. And I say all of that hanging on by a thread, knowing that a lot could change at the trade deadline. No idea what's coming. No predictions on that whatsoever. So it is what it is, but I'm not scared. I'm not scared of second place. Okay. I'm not.
Right.
Never.
I like it. I like it. Megan, same question. Wrap it up for us.
All right, so hot take. I think the Mets are going to finish second.
Ooh.
I say this with knowing that as a Mets fan, we struggle with consistency, but I think that the Mets are gelling. I think that the guys are kind of getting it together, and Pete Alonso's not even hitting right now. Like, imagine if he gets hot and he starts doing his thing. I mean, the Mets are, we're getting hungry. They can kind of taste some victory. And so I think that, the heart and the passion, I've been saying it for the past year and a half, like the Mets need like some team building exercises. Like, let's go to the zoo, let's hang out, let's get the juices going. I've been saying this, and I feel like the juices are starting to flow. So that's my hot take. Right now, the Mets, the question was like, how do our individual teams stack up against the rest of the division? The Mets, to me right now, are the hottest team in baseball. We can stack up against anyone right now. I think the Yankees are obviously hot. So, I think if you're going up against the Mets right now, you're a little bit worried. You're shaking in your booties a little bit. So, I'm super excited to see how the, season finishes. And again, we do struggle with consistency. So we'll see what happens. But, I'm a Mets fan. I've got thick skin. I'm used to being disappointed. So regardless of what happens, right? Like we will survive. I will still be a Mets fan next year, but I'm not going to lie. What's going on with the Mets right now and seeing these wins over teams that are, good is really, really exciting. Jen and I were actually in Arlington last week. We got to see the Mets defeat the Rangers. That was beautiful. That was an incredible victory. And again, it's not like we're just winning by a run or two. These are significant wins. We are getting up to the plate and, getting hits every time. Francisco Alvarez is on absolute fire. And so, it's exciting. It's a fun and nice baseball fan is all about, and makes it that much more fun. I'm going to love baseball regardless, but I'm not going to lie. It's a lot funner when the Mets are doing well. So, I'm proud and I'm very excited to see what happens.
Okay, so let me just throw out a disclaimer here after Megan says the Mets are going to come in second place. The views expressed by Megan aren't necessarily the views approved by Top Fan Rivalry. We appreciate all opinions, not necessarily approved or endorsed by Top Fan Rivalry. Okay, Done with the
Dave's
endorsement.
approval to say that? Did you get Big Dave's approval to say that? Because
He hasn't trademarked it.
He has that trademarked.
He
You
hasn't
actually,
trademarked it
he
Yeah.
building your opinion.
yet.
Okay, I didn't think so.
My
Just gotta
disclaimer is
get the
that
disclaimer in there real quick.
my disclaimer is that that made me a little nauseous when it came out of her mouth. I didn't like that.
Hey, you know
I didn't
what,
like
though?
hearing it with my ears.
You know what though? Wouldn't it be a lot funner if Pete Alonso
Yeah,
or Pete? Wouldn't it be a lot funner if Pete, I can't find a jersey that fits me correctly, Alonso and Francisco Lindor were walking down the street singing Kumbaya, going to the gym? I mean, going to the zoo. Wouldn't it just be so much more fun? Jen, can you imagine in Queens them walking down the street going to the zoo? I mean,
No, I
that's
can't. But I will say, Alonso did say that London was a really big team bonding event, trip, whatever you want to call it for them. And there's a noticeable difference in the vibes since then. So whatever they did in London, I don't need to know, but it worked for them.
I need like a camp, a retreat.
Yeah.
Some sort of like, let's go back to like middle school when you sit in a circle and you like flutter your like legs and you're like, where do you want to go when you're a butterfly? Like we
Do some
need
trust
some,
falls in
like,
the locker room.
What middle school did you go
Yes.
to?
I didn't go to middle school.
like a Francisco Lindor and
Not the circle I thought you were
Alvarez
going
trust
with.
ball.
I'm sorry, Francisco Lindor is too busy at Wimbledon right now. He's too busy for your little kumbaya session.
Yeah,
You know,
he's got
the
things to
Braves
do.
might take you up on that. We could probably use that.
Yeah.
And Jen, to your point too, like, is that when the team meeting took place?
It was right before that. And I think I remember I was talking to you guys and I said, like, that was their rock bottom that night. And it was going to turn around
Absolutely.
afterwards. And it did, because that was the whole
Absolutely.
Jorge Lopez thing. And literally all happened within, a day or two. And then they went to London shortly after that. And it's just been a completely different team.
Yep.
Even whatever he called song that they now play all the time in the stadium. Like, I think even he's kind of brought a whole different energy, and it's just a different team. And when they're getting along, I guess they play a lot better.
So can you confirm, me and my dad were debating this 2 nights ago. Can you confirm the celebration when they do this? Was that pre or post team meeting?
After?
Okay. I thought it happened like right before.
He's a vet now.
And my dad was like, I have a theory on what that means, because it was definitely after the meeting. And I'm like, it was before. And he's like, no, it's definitely like after. So, okay. I'll have to admit defeat.
Yeah, it was after.
So Rach and Delaney, just so that you know, I'm going to quote my good friend Jackson, who co-hosts the weekly review with me, who's a Braves fan. He said, and I quote, after a certain experience, do not worry about taking a glove into Queens when you go to a game. You might catch one when you go to a game. So that's Jackson just saying that. I just want to get that on record. The views expressed by Jackson are approved by TopFanRivalry. No, I'm just
You just don't have to worry about me going to a baseball game in New York ever. So
hey, Jen with you, you'll be fine. You
I
take Jen
have
with
to
you.
go.
You girls will be fine.
A lot of people want to go. I'm not one of those people. I'm very non-confrontational in real life. I'll go everywhere else. I'm not going to New York.
Take Jen with you.
Listen.
Jen, will you take Rachel to the game? Make sure
I
that she's
trust
okay.
them.
Yeah,
I
got you. Don't worry.
I don't want to go to California either.
I gotta tell you, you have to go. And when I go to stadiums, I don't wear my Braves gear because, for one, I'm gonna buy the hat of the home team because that's what I take home. I don't take ticket stubs anymore because nobody prints them anymore.
Right.
Played, final score, things like that. But if you don't wear your gear and you kind of go incognito and you just don't cheer, you just don't cheer. You just enjoy the game. Then you're fine.
I would have to go to like a non-Braves game then. I would have to go to where I don't. You know what I mean? Because if it's the Braves, what am I gonna do?
I very specifically will not go to Braves games when I go on the road. The only exception was I went up to Boston earlier this month as a little birthday gift to myself to see the Braves play at Fenway.
That's very cool. I would do that in a heartbeat.
And I will tell you, I did not wear Braves gear. I did not wear Atlanta anything except for a hat, and it said Atlanta Hawks, and it was black and white. It did not say Braves on it.
Yeah.
I still cheered super loudly, but that's because I know people there because I used to work there. But just out of respect for my friends at Fenway, I didn't wear the gear. I wasn't actively cheering against the Red Sox out loud.
Out loud, just in your.
I mean, fans are going to be respectful. Yeah, you're going to have those drunken fans that are going to go up to you and give you a hard time, but
Boy.
I think you're going to be fine. I mean, we can't even say anything. We have fans like that too. So.
Rachel,
No,
you're
oh
always,
my gosh, we do.
Rachel, you're always welcome to come to the home of the 2024 world champion Los Angeles Dodgers anytime you want.
I'm sorry. Is this
Don't
anything
say
like
that.
the 2021 spring training World Series champion New York Mets?
Oh,
Where it's like all in
okay.
your head?
Listen, I'm trying to speak it into existence. I already got the
Remember when I
Mets
said the
almost in
bigger you
wild
are,
card. We're going, right? Grimace Mets, let's go.
the bigger you are, the harder you fall. In baseball, the one thing I love the most about it is hottest team at the right time win.
That's right. It's much more funner.
So
I think that's like
You guys are
5.
killing me with
Oh,
this.
no. Wait until tomorrow morning. We're gonna be good. All right.
I feel like
You
you need to
guys,
put more
if-
funner on a shirt.
more
Yeah,
funner.
more funner. Top fan
Yeah.
rivalry, more funner.
Women in sports have more funner.
More funner. I love that.
That's actually iconic, and we'll make sure it's like a fit and style that isn't tragic. Like it'll be cute. You know what I mean?
Doesn't come in
Add
a
extra
Women in sports, more
sparkle,
funner.
extra
Top fan
pink,
rivalry.
tons of flowers.
I'm calling some people. Okay,
gonna give me a
ladies.
Bedazzled, yeah, the whole 9. And if y'all can, like tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, if y'all could like get on ITL and have my back, because I'm gonna be in the trenches tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if y'all can
Okay,
get
so
on,
ladies, we got about 8 minutes left on this, and so I'm going to ask the final question. So let's wrap it up. Megan, we're going to start with you. Obviously your teams have rich histories to this, but Megan, give me one favorite memory that you have about being a Mets fan.
So to be honest, when this rivalry was super red hot and lots of fun, like prior to 21-22, I was much younger. So it was more me experiencing that funness and that rivalry through my dad, because I was always sitting right there with him watching the games. So it was more like I could feel the energy and the vibes that my dad was like giving off because of the rivalries. So to me, that it's like I felt it before I knew it, if that makes sense, And so I'm a Mets fan because of my dad. He's born and raised in New York. And so yeah, just sharing that special bond with him, bonding over the Mets and being able to like feel the rivalry before I actually knew what it was, is super cool to me.
Awesome. Okay. Delaney, same answer or same question. A favorite memory.
So I'm probably gonna go with something a little bit more recent.
Okay.
Just because it sparked a whole wave of new Braves fans, and to me that's something that's super special. We brought more women into the community, more guys too, but just to see the fandom grow so exponentially, knowing that from 2014 to 2017 and then moving into a new stadium, we sell out the majority of our games now, especially since winning the World Series in 21. But I have to go with Max's performance in Game 6. Everybody talks about Jorge Soler's massive home run in Game 6, but I have to go with Max. He pitched a gem that night. He had his ankle like destroyed, essentially. And I think he just went back out there and he got the job done. And I think that was electric. Jen, Meg, you guys don't know this about me, but I love a good pitcher's duel. So, you know, just watching him that night, and yeah, Jorge Soler was great too, but I gotta go with Max. He was a whole 6 innings of wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so Jen, your thoughts on a favorite memory?
Yeah, I mean, I'm late 90s, early 2000s rivalry, and Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones, John Rocker talking smack, like those were a lot of things back then. But my absolute favorite memory as a born and bred New Yorker is Piazza hitting home run after 9/11. And
Oh my
it's
gosh.
the best memory in all of baseball.
Oh,
That game was
I cry
emotional.
every time. I cry
Yeah.
every time.
Jen?
Yeah.
I think that's the one time I'm okay with the Mets winning a game over the Braves.
Absolutely.
Jen?
I mean, they threw him a ball, but whatever, doesn't matter.
Jen,
Doesn't matter.
I literally cried when they traded Mike Piazza. He was one of my favorite Dodgers, and especially how it went down. And I was a grown man. I was in college when they traded him. But the day that he hit that home run in 9/11, after 9/11 on September 17th, I believe it was, I
Mhm.
literally said he is now a Met. He's not a Dodger anymore. Forget being a Dodger. He is actually a Met.
Yeah.
And he got domed by Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens threw a bat at him. Yes,
Yeah.
sure. He's a Met. But that night, he became the ultimate Met of our generation, at least, right? There have been some fantastic Mets, but of our generation. And there's a documentary about that where they have a couple of Braves players and a couple of Mets players, and even Delaney, even the Braves players say, we didn't care that we lost that game that night.
Yeah.
It was just such an iconic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
So Rachel, you started us. Rach, you started us off. We're gonna let you end on the same question that I just asked the ladies. So tell me a little bit about a favorite memory.
Gosh, because that's a subject I could talk about for hours. But I've been a fan for so long, since I was such a tiny girl. But so I have been alive for 2 World Series wins, and the first one I was only 4, and then 2021, and y'all can do the math. But I don't necessarily no, don't stop it.
I'm just
So
teasing.
counting. It's funner if you don't count. I
didn't
remember
say it.
I remember very clearly, even at a young age, the impact that the 95 World Series had on my dad, who was a diehard fan, and the rest of my family and the people around me. But it was something that I couldn't understand. It's something that I felt the impact of, but didn't quite understand. And so for that to kind of come full circle in 2021, and for me to get to feel exactly what they felt, is something that I will never forget. I mean, I married you, and the day you were born, that was the best day of my life. And I don't even feel bad saying that, but it was very cool just to actually fully understand, after so many years of being a fan, dedicating so much of my life to this, just to know exactly what they felt. And then I just think it's also cool too that we've seen a lot of changes to the Braves and their location just in my lifetime. So my first Braves game ever was at the Fulton County Stadium. And then so it's been really cool to just like grow up with the Braves, and not just with the ballparks, just moving with those, but the lineups too. When we sign guys, we sign them, and these are guys that I've grown up with. So I just think that really every aspect of it, but I do love that I've gotten to experience the Braves in all those different places in Atlanta, and love each place has my heart in a really bad way. And then of course, like, how could you not say 2021 World Series? That was just
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I mean, you guys will learn about it one day in your lifetime, maybe.
one day.
One
I'm old. I have experienced it in my lifetime. It's just been a while.
See, I was trying to be kind, Jen.
Well, first of all, ladies, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time on 4th of July with me. I adore this Top Fan Rivalry community. We set it up so it could be a great baseball community, and it's turning out to be that. I've gotten to know all four of you ladies, and it's so much fun. And it's so much fun to banter back and forth and to talk about different things. Is it possible that we could put the five of us back together again towards the end of the season if it's one of those things where we're all fighting for wild card spots and do a little bit more trash talking? Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
I would love that. I'd love it more in person, Bill.
Yeah.
See you in
Get us in the
Colorado.
room
In
together.
Colorado.
See you in Colorado. Maybe
Or in
maybe-
Atlanta. They can
Or in
experience a
Atlanta,
winner's
yeah.
atmosphere.
or
Yeah.
maybe we might need to bring you out to LA. Who knows?
My mouth.
I volunteer as tribute.
I would for y'all.
There you go.
No one
Well,
else.
Top Fan Rivalry followers, first of all, my friend Jen, my friend Rach, my friend Delaney, and obviously, as you know, Mets Meg are fantastic people. I have loved to get to know them. Ladies, I could do this all day. I know that the people that are listening to this are sitting there going, I just want to do a barbecue now. I've listened to the ladies talk about the sports. Let me do a barbecue. For those of you listening again, make sure you check out TopFanRivalry.com. Get into the locker room. There's a lot of fun stuff there, and there's a lot of good member perks. So, ladies, we will do this again. Have a fantastic 4th of July.
You
Thank
too.
you guys so
too.
much. I had a blast.
Ditto.